Okay, I'm going to give you a fair warning. What you're about to see is a bit graphic. Protesters inside and outside of Union Station in Washington, D.C., did a performance art. Okay, just be forewarned, it looks like a lot of blood and people are eating body parts, but here it is. They staged this protest, this performance art protest, where leaders from Donald Trump, Netanyahu, Marco Rubio, Antony Blinken, and Joe Biden dined on the body parts of Gazans, is essentially what these protests was depicting. So you could see them there eating the various different body parts. This was called Israel First Friendsgiving Dinner. Figured it was appropriate to show you this while you're probably about ready to eat. I know, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. But this was staged inside and outside of Union Station in Washington, D.C. They had two different displays, and you could see them there drinking blood and eating organs, and they even had a menu. Let me show you. And you can see there's Joe Biden. You could see Anthony Blinken next to him. There's Marco Rubio, Donald Trump, and next to him is Benjamin Netanyahu. I have to say that Netanyahu's mask is really, really creepy because it looks pretty darn close to how he actually looks. It's like the most obvious of the masks. Like when you see a mask of Benjamin Netanyahu, that just looks just like him, and the others looks a little different. But Netanyahu, it's like, is he wearing a mask all the time, every day? Maybe. It doesn't really look that different. But they had a menu here. The starter, Gaza children's limbs, 21,000 plus Palestinian children disabled by Israel. 10 plus children lose one or both legs every day since October 2023. No place on earth has more child amputees than Gaza. For the main course, stolen organs, corneas, heart valves, livers, kidneys, and bones. Palestinian bodies routinely returned missing organs. Israel illegally harvests organs from Palestinians they kill or kidnap. So this is the some of the prisoners when the bodies were returned to Palestine, those that were captured and held by the Israelis, the hostages, the Palestinian hostages they kept. Of course, they called them prisoners. Some of them were returned mutilated and they were missing organs. For dessert, illegally harvested skin, Israel National Skin Bank, world's largest skin bank, skin illegally stolen from the bodies of Palestinians killed or kidnapped. There I am. Freudian slip by Israel. Sorry about this if you're eating. Don't watch this if you're eating. And for drink, Gaza's spilled blood. 186,000 civilians and children killed by Israel. Of course, this got a lot of backlash. Many were sharing this. This is blood libel was on full display today. This is the American Jewish Coalition. And they American Jewish Committee. They shared this, the age-old anti-Semitic trope mistaken as activism and performance art. So they were pretty upset about this. Also, this is another video that was put out saying anti-Semites stage horrifying Friendsgiving dinner. This is the scene inside of Union Station. The ADL, of course, tweeted out the so-called Friendsgiving display that was outside and inside of Union Station in D.C. yesterday was nothing less than abhorrent. The anti-Semitic blood libel was on full display, featuring representations of the Israeli Prime Minister and American officials from the current and past administrations at a table with fake bloody organs marked harvested organs in plates and cups of red liquid labeled Gaza spilled blood. A large menu placard offered a buffet of misinformation. Anti-Semitic tropes, take your pick. Learn more about the anti-Semitic blood libel and other tropes here at antisemitism.adl.org/blood. Let's just click on that link for a minute. Let me tell you about Ground News, a platform I genuinely use and actually like. What I appreciate about Ground News is that they don't pretend to give you unbiased news. Instead, they show you where the bias is, what direction it's leaning, and which outlets are framing the same story in completely different ways. And in today's environment, with the information overload, the sensationalism, the algorithms trying to manipulate what you see, that transparency really matters. Let me give you an example. Take the recent stories about the Epstein files. Dozens of outlets covered it, but depending on where you looked, the headline totally changed the tone. Some left-leaning outlets framed it as Trump's going down, while right-leaning outlets focused on it being a Democrat hoax, and a few mainstream outlets downplayed it completely altogether. The facts were the same, but the framing was wildly different. Inside Ground News, you can pull up that story and instantly see every outlet covering it, left, right, center, all side by side. You can check the bias rating, see who's using loaded language, who's omitting details, and who's bearing the lead. It's one of the only tools that actually helps you get out of the algorithm bubble and think for yourself. So if you want to see the news clearly, not just the narrative, go to groundnews.com/Kim and subscribe to get 40% off the Vantage plan using my link. That's groundnews.com/Kim. And, just to be clear, there were only two Jews at this table. Two Jews represented or representatives of, because obviously these are not the real people. Benjamin Netanyahu is Jewish and Antony Blinken is Jewish. But otherwise, Marco Rubio is not, Donald Trump is not, and Joe Biden is not. So when they say, this is anti-Semitic blood libel, I guess because the Israeli flag was draped all over the table. Obviously, this is all done at behalf of Israel, but the ADL gave us this link. Let's just find out what they say blood libel is. Myth: Jews use Christian blood for religious rituals. A major theme in anti-Semitic thought and propaganda is the blood libel, the myth that Jews murder non-Jews, especially non-Jewish children, in order to use their blood to perform religious rituals. Most prevalent in the medieval and early modern period, this peculiar accusation has plagued Jews and incited violence against them for centuries. Okay, I don't think anybody is accusing you of killing Gaza children for some sort of ritual, but certainly, yes, you are being accused, and I think rightfully, of killing Gaza children in order to fulfill what you believe to be a biblical prophecy of God granting you the right to this land thousands of years ago. So, now there are dead children. This is not a blood libel claim. Blood libel stemmed from when there was mysterious death of a Christian child or a mysterious disappearance of a Christian child, and it was then blamed on Jews. And then that was the blood libel claim. And blood libel has led to, lots of different for example, Nazis. Blood libel helped stage modern anti-Semitism by cementing the image of Jews as uniquely cruel, dangerous, and conspiratorial. And Nazis later weaponized that older myth directly in their propaganda. It provided an emotionally charged template that could be updated and secularized, but still cast Jews as child killers and enemies of normal society. I mean, there are a lot of dead Gazan children right now. I mean, that is just a fact. And it is done on the basis of the land belongs to Jews and nobody else. And that God said that the land belonged to Jews. So, Nazi propagandists explicitly reused the blood libel motif, including accusations of ritual murder in their media ecosystem. For example, the anti-Semitic paper Der Stürmer ran issues devoted to the theme and presented Jews as ritual child killers. I mean, I don't think they were killing the Gaza kids as a ritual, but you could say routine child killers and not ritual child killers, but routine? I mean, if you don't want to be accused of killing kids, then don't kill kids. It's kind of... Okay, this is the American Jewish Committee. They were mad too, of course. Blood libel was on full display today at Union Station, Washington, D.C., dressed up as activism and performance art. This was nothing less than the revival of one of the oldest and most dangerous anti-Semitic tropes in history. Blood libel has fueled violence, persecution, and massacres of Jews for centuries. Seeing it resurface in our nation's capital is both horrifying and unacceptable. At a time of rising anti-Semitism, leaders and authorities must condemn this display and ensure that public spaces are not used to spread dangerous hate. No, I mean, again, if you don't want to be accused of killing kids, don't kill kids. And the Israel war. Oh, let's see what Jonathan Greenblatt had to say. Always love to hear from him, don't we? The grotesque Friendsgiving stunt at Union Station is a sickening and blatant display of anti-Semitism. What organizers called activism was, in fact, a modern blood libel. Did they all get the same? They did. They all got the same message, right? Because it feels like they're all putting out pretty much the same thing, like the exact same message. So they got the notice. You got to put this out there. We've got to say this is blood libel. So there's no place for this hate in Washington, D.C. or anywhere. Okay, let's see if this one sounds the same too. Oh, this one's a little different, it seems. Kind of, right? Israel War Room. Disgusting. Today, anti-Semites stage a horrifying anti-Semitic trope-filled Friendsgiving dinner inside Washington, D.C.'s Union Station. This blatant promotion of blood libel and Hamas propaganda must be condemned. I don't know. Maybe that did kind of sound the same, just shorter. But it does look like, did they all say blatant? Did they all say, I mean, they all seem to be like, blood libel, this is terrible, right? Yeah. You know, the reality of it is that a lot of people are being killed right now by Israel, and it's, there's no real way. What else is there to say about that? I don't know what it was like in the past. I don't know what they were being accused of and what the evidence was against them or not against them. We didn't have social media back in whenever the medieval times, right, when blood libel was being spread around. So I have no idea. But I know I live today. I don't live in medieval times. I don't know about the blood libel claims of back then. I wasn't around. But I am around today. And what I do know is that the Israelis regularly mow the lawn. They regularly shoot kids. They regularly bury kids and people under rubble. That is what I've seen for years now, not just since October 7th, but years prior to that. And they're doing it in the name of God said it was ours, and so we're allowed. And they've got all these Christians going along with it. And at the table there, you had not only you have Jewish, of course, Netanyahu and Blinken, but you also have Christian Marco Rubio, whatever Trump says he is, and same thing with Biden, right? He's Catholic. I don't know what Trump is. I don't know what Marco Rubio. I guess Catholic would be my guess. Anyway, let me go back to this. So, and then they also expose who the performers were. Hazami Barmada was like the main organizer of this, and she has staged many different protests. And they list others as well and say, oh, look at who these participants in the anti-Semitic display. Okay. Once again, I'll just say it one more time because it seems to be falling on deaf ears. If you don't want to be accused of killing kids, then don't kill kids. Thank you for watching this clip from the full Kim Iversen Show, which you can catch Monday through Friday, 2 p.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. Eastern at KimIversonShow.com. It is free for you to watch. Again, 2 p.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. Eastern, KimIversonShow.com. See you there.